Hello everyone, and welcome to the Witch's Gameboard. Grab your most comfortable chair, get some cookies and piping hot tea, and join us as we talk about Umineko no Naku Koro ni, Episode 2, Turn of the Golden Witch. My name is Melody, and with me here, in the flesh, is Reuel.
Hi, I'm here.
Yeah, today we have a very special episode of the Witch's Gameboard actually, as we are recording this in the same room.
Yeah, this took a lot of prep, took a lot of setup, but hopefully it will work out.
Supposedly, you know, by a lot of prep, we mean we sat this in this room and we just spouted a bunch of bullshit into our microphones for like a while.
Oh, you know, what do you do for science?
It's just so true. Oh man, but I'm really happy to be here.
I'm happy to have you.
Hell yeah. This is going to be one doozy of a podcast. Not only are we talking about all of episode 2, we're doing it in the same room. And there's gonna be some interesting stuff to talk about definitely with this one. So as always, this episode is split into a non-spoiler section and a spoiler section. Be careful because this will be talking about the entirety of episode 2. But also I will put up a timestamp on the screen around now. This is when you should tune out if you have not read the rest of the novel, because we will be talking about the rest of it. So be careful about that. Anything else to add, really? Do we have any more?
I don't know. We can do a funny. This is our weekly / per episode Syconia news section.
Oh yeah.
Today's episode news are
nothing.
That concludes the Syconia news section. I think we can get to the episode now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, not much happened since we last recorded.
Yeah, I mean, we had like one Bako stream.
Yeah, and her voice somehow got even worse.
That was wild. Like, what did she record it on? It sounded like your old mic.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I didn't know Bayako's voice could get even worse, but it did.
Yeah.
So, Rikishi never ceases to amaze us.
I mean, you know, this is our vehicle for phase 2 now at this point, right?
Yeah. This is what we get. No phase. This is the phase 2. We are being tested.
Yeah, we're being tested with Bayako. Well, what can be done about that? Nothing really, right? We just have to wait and see.
One big like social experiment. How much is your fandom willing to be put through, waiting for you to release the next work?
Oh man!
And he's just testing us.
I'm scared, Your Honor. This is not looking great, but I mean. The guy is working on Silent Hill F. I cannot blame him too much for not really like working too much in Syconia. Just hope that one day it will come here. Speaking of which, I still need to finish Syconia at the point of this recording.
True, you should.
We'll probably end up reading more after the podcast, actually. Base,
we will be.
But finally, I think at this point we can jump into the main topic. Turn of the Golden Witch.
Wee, clap, clap,
when we
clap.
pachi. When we last left off, Battler kind of proclaimed war on Beatrice, saying that he will explain everything with human tricks. Fuck magic. So now we completely disregard that and jump into something completely unrelated.
Yeah, I don't know. When I played, I was eagerly awaiting.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is cool and all. Like, there's the Shannon, Canon stuff, Rosa stuff, and I'm like, that's cool and all. But like, give me Battler. And it takes like, 10 in-game chapters for him to finally appear?
I think so, yeah. Like, you get a lot of setup in this chapter yet again, but it's like, it is interesting setup because out of nowhere, like, Bato is there.
True. It is character backstory.
Yeah, basically.
That what we couldn't get in episode 1.
Mm-hmm. Because it just wouldn't make sense. It would make episode 1 even more bloated with exposition than it already is. Which is not to say that it's really bad, but it's definitely, I think it reaches limits.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Wait, this is episode 2. And I don't know. I like this one more than episode 1.
No, same. I honestly, like, as someone who has read the entire novel, I feel like it only goes up usually. Like, episodes get only better and better.
I would agree. But yeah, this also has like a lot of exposition.
Yeah.
Like episode 1, but I guess like now that you know these characters, it's way easier to sit through.
Yeah, definitely.
Not saying that's bad. Like it's Rikishi writing, of course, it's good.
You're also kind of like in the groove. You're like, episode 1 really sets you up for like, okay, so the beginning will be a little bit slow, but then as things will start happening really fast, it's going to be really cool. So at that point, you're like, okay, take me on this ride, Rikishi, whatever.
Yeah, now you're willing to go on Mr. Rikishi's wild ride.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the first scene we really get, and that's George and Shannon.
George and Shannon on their like cute little date.
Yeah.
In the aquarium. It was cool. Like George is George. Georges a lot.
Georges a lot is true.
In a George way. So if you're a George fan, you liked it. If you're a George hater, I'm sorry.
I'm a George hater.
Yeah, this is the split of the Witches Gameboard podcast. I'm a George enjoyer.
Yeah, you're a George fan actually.
I'm
Number
a George
one stan.
defender.
I dislike George. I think he's a nerd and should be given a veggie.
Okay, Battler's also a nerd.
No, but
though.
Battler's a cool nerd. Battler fucks. It's true.
Does he? Well,
I think he does.
Well, we'll see at the end of the episode. He certainly gets fucked. But that's later.
Right.
But yeah, George and Shannon, that was cool. We get a really cool scene, which is Shannon breaking the mirror.
Oh yeah,
on the sea shrine.
No, the voice acting in that scene is incredible.
It is really good. It's a very emotional scene. So like the start kind of like gets you nice and cozy, like it's just like a cute date. And then hits you with that, like, oh yeah, magic, actually, if you forgot what you're reading.
Right.
This is a really cool scene.
Oh, yeah, but I do love that setup of, like, very mundane life, I guess. And then you get that great scene with the shrine. It's great. Oh, like, breaking the mirror.
Yeah. In the shrine, I would say this explains... I guess one mystery from episode 1, like, oh, what happened to the shrine on the shore? And now we know, like what the shrine was, what was it for, and what happened that, like, Shannon broke the mirror, and then presumably Beatrice fucking struck it down with a lightning.
Shoutouts to Beatrice's fucking strength. She really said, fuck that fucking shrine.
Yeah. Fuck your Eastern magic. My Western magic is more powerful.
Beatrice being a little bit weird there, but
a bit racist, but it's okay.
Is it?
I forgive her.
I forgive her war crimes.
I can fix her.
All right.
Yeah, we get more of. We get in this intro part before we get a lot of 3 characters, I would say. We get Shannon's backstory in general deal, Canon's backstory in general deal, and Maria's.
Ah, yeah.
We get Maria and Rosa scenes.
I mean, there's not a lot. I feel like there will be way more later on.
Yeah, like less than the other 2. Let's start off with Shannon's backstory.
Sure. So, Shannon is dating Gorg. She's dating the Quark, and
he's not having a good time.
Oh yeah, not really, because obviously, like, the entire thing is a little bit of a taboo, especially with George having such controlling parents as Eva and Hideyoshi. I mean, Hideyoshi's fine, but like Eva,
yeah, Eva is a big obstacle for them. Let's just say.
Yeah, definitely.
But I really like the scene of how imposing she is when she basically tells Shannon to go die
Right.
and never bother George again.
She really said kill yourself.
Yeah, you should kill yourself.
Now. I mean, one thing that we forgot to mention about the date, by the way, that I really find incredibly funny, and this is not something we see more of, really, is George's fucking casual clothes.
Oh no.
We have to talk about them.
Yeah, they're bad.
I mean, okay, in the console sprites, they're pretty goofy. Like still, like even with the kind of blue suit, I just think, okay, this might be just like a thing of like, oh, this is 80s fashion. This is how people in the 80s dressed. And then it's like, okay, it's fine, whatever. It looks all right. But there's a little detail in the original sprites that makes his casual outfit in the OG sprites incredibly funny. And it's his t-shirt.
Yeah, it's... What does it say, like Tomitake, right?
I think it's like Tomitake Flash, actually.
Oh my god. I mean, that's George. If anyone in Umineko would have bad fashion, it would be him.
That's true. No.
Maybe Kanon.
No. As we will know, as we will discuss,
no.
Kanon has drip.
He has a horrible outfit.
Don't listen here. He dresses like a Hellsing Ultimate character.
Okay, and that's not a good thing.
That's kind of based.
No.
I mean, okay, there are only two people that dress like a Hellsing Ultimate character. A, really cool guys who actually pull it off, and B, like people at conventions who want to look cool but don't. But I honestly, I think that Kanon falls into the first category.
I think he falls into the second one. I think he saw it in a magazine and felt like it looked so cool.
He's an emo boy. Hey, emo boy.
Hey, emo boy. It's funny drip. It's a very funny outfit, I think, and it fits him. He can hide in it.
Right.
But yeah,
I like it. It has a vibe.
It has. Nah. It's not as bad as George's t-shirt.
It's not as bad as Tomitake Flash.
But it's not good.
I guess we'll agree to disagree. I'd wear that. I'd wear that outfit.
But Kanon dresses up and he goes to a concert.
Yeah, it's less so that he goes to a concert, more so that he gets invited to it by Jessica. Because Jessica's like, I need someone to go to my concert and look at me. Because every one of my girlfriends has a boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. So he pretends to be a boyfriend. There's like... It's so casually said that Jessica asks him to step out of the room and she like beats up her friends.
Violence.
I know it's like, anime kind of like joke violence, but it can be seen as very shocking.
I mean, unless you like, I think that's literally just the anime trope showing its face.
Yeah, it is. She's embarrassed. He calls her Ojo-sama by mistake, and they all like.
That's cute though.
Swoon at that. It was a bit cute.
I'm by the way, if nobody knows, I am a Jessica X Kanon like enjoyer. I like it.
I like it too.
Yeah, I like the vibes. But yeah, I do like that little moment where her friends just go, "Oh my god, he calls you Ojo-sama." We're like, "Oh my god, that's so cute."
Yeah, it's like, oh, he uses boku to call himself. That's so cute. He calls you Ojo-sama. Like it's like you're a princess.
I can see Jessica getting mad at that though. She's like, don't get the wrong idea. No.
But she got what she wanted, and she puts on a concert.
Oh man.
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, console sprites. He's British. Why?
She's an average British boo.
Why the British flag? What's going on there,
I have
Rikishi?
no idea.
What are you trying to say with this?
Do you think Rikishi okayed that, or was that just like the decision of Alchemist?
I think he had to okay all the sprites. At least I hope so. But yeah, I think this was definitely Alchemist's idea. I don't think Rikishi had this idea, and he just accepted it.
I don't even think it, like the British flag really works with her song either. Like that they replace it with. Is it?
I don't think so. Yeah, I guess that because she's singing in English.
That's such a very flimsy.
It is
very flimsy.
But but they had to change the outfit.
Yeah.
Talk about the original.
Beton, tsuru beton.
And let's talk about censorship.
It's not censorship.
They censored it for other releases. They're cancel culture strikes again.
Not the cancel culture. The Umineko cancel culture.
Real.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was a Toho reference. They had to change that. He changed from Tsurupetan to Sweet.
Yeah, it was like, originally it was like an IOSIS song, I think. Again, I should have looked this up before the podcast. It's like, basically it's just a Toho fan production. And I'm guessing they either could not get the rights for it, or like releasing it on something as big as like a, console visual novel would be a little bit too much.
So they changed it, and they had to make new outfit because in the original, Jessica was dressed up as Marisa.
See, and that was based. That was perfect for her.
It was a cool outfit. I'm glad that it's back in Golden Fantasia.
Yeah.
Like in the background, she's wearing that, and other characters are wearing other Toho themed outfits. That's really cool.
Like, ever since episode 1, actually, I don't know, Jessica just gave me incredible Marisa vibes. Like,
I have not played any Toho, so I wouldn't know.
I mean, Marisa, I guess you can say she's a little bit like, for lack of a better term, she's a little bit tomboyish. She's a little bit of a troublemaker. Like, she's a little bit smug, she's very overconfident in herself. And I feel like Jessica is kind of very similar in that regard. So giving her the Marisa outfit is actually really cool. Not to mention the whole thing about Tsurupetan is it actually has a Higurashi reference in it.
Oh, does it?
Wait, you didn't know?
I mean, I think you've told me, but I don't remember.
Yeah, fucking in the second verse, that entire verse is about Oyashiro-sama.
Oh.
And they also mention like demoning away Onikakushi.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's a really cute thing where it's like kind of like reference ping pong,
Yeah, returning the reference. That's cool.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
But they had to replace it. What do you think of the song they replaced it with? Sweets?
It's just not the same. I mean, Sweets. It does sound still like it could have been like a Toho parody, right? Like it has that like very, very fast pace. But then the chorus is a little bit out there. I know, it's fine. Like, it's a song that was written specifically for that scene. So obviously it's not bad. But personally, I just think Tsurupetan is way more iconic.
Yeah.
Because it's a really nice marriage of these two franchises, I guess. And really shows how integral the fan scene, like the doujin scene, was for the growth of both Toho and When They Cry.
Yeah. I think the song is okay, but the song I like is because for the anime version of Umineko, they used a different song. They used a song called Dokyun Heart.
Yeah, and
I like that one more than Sweets.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like that one more than Sweets too. It's pretty fun.
It's I think both of those are like sang by the Jessica's voice actress.
Really? Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. But yeah, I like the anime versions more. It's interesting that there was even a different version. I would think that like they make one version and they just stick to it.
Yeah.
But there might be some like copyright issues.
Maybe because What came out first, the anime or the Alchemist release? Definitely the anime, right?
Yeah, the anime.
Yeah. Maybe they just had some issues with licensing that.
Yeah. Yeah, later we get, like, this was the concert, and then later we have the scene after.
Yeah.
You think it's going so well, but it all falls apart.
Yeah, a little bit. You mean the scene with Jessica and Kanon?
The I am furniture.
Oh man, yeah.
Scene.
No, that scene is unfortunate. It's because Kanon really turns her down really, really hard. It's really sad to see.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's time we talk about this, but like him calling himself furniture, it like works out a lot with what we see also in Shannon's backstory of how the servants have it like horrible in the Oshiramiya house.
Yeah.
Like,
it's real bad.
I can see how someone can, rationalize it to themselves by calling themselves furniture, because they're not treated well.
Yeah.
Like, Shannon has a moment where she's horribly scared of Natsuki and Eva, and George has to step in to help her.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 1, we saw some of that, of like how Natsuki would be just like scolded by Eva for the smallest things.
Yeah.
So she was very strict with Shannon herself to avoid that. It is bad.
Right.
Don't mistreat your employees.
It's, rich people shit.
For some, like, it's bad enough to drive them to consider themselves less than human.
That's really messed up. I mean, I wonder, you always wonder, because like it feels like almost every servant, besides like maybe, like, okay, here's an interesting detail. We have Goda, Kumasawa, Genji, Kanon, and Shannon. Goda and Kumasawa are kind of outsiders. I don't think Kumasawa was there from the very beginning. As in, like,
I think she was there.
She was there from the very beginning, but I mean, like, okay, this is what I mean.
She is not allowed to wear the Shiramiya eagle.
First of that, but I mean, like, okay, because Kanon and Shannon come from the
Fukuin
house, right? Genji does not, but he's very closely associated with that house. Or at least, like, it feels like it, right? Like, like I think he's the one that like trains the new recruits and stuff.
I mean, I guess, yeah, since we see that Kanon got his furniture talk from Genji.
Exactly.
So
and I noticed this because like Goda and Kumasawa don't talk about how we're just furniture. At least I don't think so. Goda definitely doesn't.
Goda doesn't. Shannon doesn't either. Like, Kanon is the one telling her that she's furniture.
No. Shannon does have like a couple of moments, I think, where she goes like, "Oh, I'm furniture." I think so. Like, she's just not as like brain rotten about it as Kanon is, for lack of a better term. She's not role playing as a chair, Your Honor. Gaming chair Kanon. But for real though, it's really interesting to see that usually it's the servants that grow up in the Fukuin house that have this like, oh, I am furniture type of thing going. Do you think Genji actually maybe like instilling that into them?
Maybe, yeah, if he's the one who gets it, like, as you said, like, introduces them, trains them, and that would make sense. But yeah, the only two characters we see from Fukuin House do say that, so... I mean, first of all, can we talk about the Fukuin House?
That shit's fucked. But yeah, we should talk about it since this is the servant episode.
You're bringing up people into, like, kids, because they're kids. They're like 16, right? And both of them, they're like, you bring orphans and you train them into servitude. I guess they get paid well.
No, it's stated that they get paid well. Still, that's like child labor.
Yeah, it is. It is. Well, rich people,
Rich people.
It's nothing new. Nothing new.
It's true enough. But I mean, like, it's child labor and it's full time, and holy shit, they're pretty much like bringing them up into slavery.
Yeah, with the slave mindset
Yeah.
of furniture.
Because it is like it is an orphan house. They don't have like parents. They're pretty much brought up as perfect servants. That's kind of
It is very weird.
that's really fucked up. Kinzo, what the fuck are you doing?
I mean, I'm not surprised. Kinzo's not really the sanest individual.
Oh, Beatrice.
Speaking of Beatrice,
Oh.
we should talk about her because finally, after the whole episode 1, where she's not there, this is very much an important character because they talk about her, but she's not there in the flesh until the tea party. We finally get her talking to Shannon and Kanon. But yeah, she's finally here in all of her glory. I don't know about you, but I love her.
I love her too.
She's the best character in this whole work.
You know, I've heard this sentiment echoed again and again and again. When you start Umineko, you will look at Kinzo like an insane person. Like, damn, is that Beato really that insanely like worth everything? This like, is she worth this much that you would like scream about her and like fall on your knees before her portrait
and make this whole ritual?
Yeah. And by the end of Umineko, you really can understand Kinzo.
Yeah, you are the Kinzo. You're screaming.
You are the simp.
Falling on your knees. You're just screaming Beatrice's name with tears down your cheeks.
You praise her noble name.
Real. You make a horrible ritual to resurrect her. But that's only if you're a true fan.
True.
You're a true fan. You killed people.
True fans recreate the Rokkanjima massacre. We disclaimer: we do not endorse anyone attempting to recreate Rokkanjima massacre.
But we get more scenes with that. So I really like the scene where she's just being friends with Shannon, and then like Kanon's there hiding in the bushes, looking at them.
He's such a little hater.
Yeah, and they like call him out, and he joins them. Like, you know, they had a whole moment and he was just scowling.
I really like the friendship between Beato and Shannon.
Yeah. Well, we later learned that it's not that nice.
Yeah, but I mean like the first like when Beato just kind of invites Shannon for tea, it's nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
Because at least at this point, it really feels like Beato treats Shannon as her equal.
Well, yeah, but then we later learned that she's only like using her magic to bring her and George together so she can like see them torn apart later.
Yeah,
she tells that to
ritual.
Kanon, and that she's a girl boss.
Oops, girl boss too hard.
But if Kanon was on her, he knew that something was up from the beginning.
It's the hater powers.
Yeah.
I will say, isn't this the part where that really beautiful line comes from? Where we get our first mention of without love it cannot be seen.
Yeah, I think this is where what color is the ocean?
Exactly. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it's a really good scene.
No, I like that line a lot.
It really showcases the characters of like the personalities of Shannon and Kanon.
Yeah.
How much they differ despite being so close.
It's a really good scene. And it introduces a phrase that will be echoed throughout the entire visual novel.
Oh yeah, but you know, this is only episode 2. It's not like it's only the start.
Definitely.
We finally get actual start of the episode.
I mean, okay, before the episode actually starts, really, we get another little scene. The one with Maria and Rosa going to the airport.
Yeah, we get more abuse scenes. Yo-ho!
Yay.
Child abuse! Whoa!
Ooh.
Disclaimer, this podcast does not condone child abuse.
We condemn it.
But yeah, it's a sad scene. Like, This whole episode is very much Rosa dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
Just like episode 1 was very much Natsuhi dedicated. This one is Rosa. And so sadly we get more child abuse scenes.
Well, I already said my piece on this during our first episode. Rosa and Maria are just usually not really that fun to watch for obvious reasons. I've grown incredibly protective of Maria, so I just don't like whenever Rosa tries shit. I know that the entire thing is like, oh, but she's apologizing, and there's like this whole entire dilemma. I get it. It's always really hard to watch for me. I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay. I think at this point we can move on to the actual episode.
The actual start October 4th, 1986. No more backstories. No more setup. We're here again.
Hell yeah.
And I don't know about you, but when I first time watched it, read it, I expected it to be exactly the same, but maybe from different perspectives. And showing us things we didn't notice. And I was really surprised when, stuff started going completely different.
Yeah. I personally did not have that because I already knew about Higurashi. I mean, at that point, when I was reading Umineko, I already finished Higurashi.
Yeah, I was watching the anime.
So, definitely did not, I knew that stuff would be different. But I was wondering in which way, because honestly, Higurashi loops differed way more than Umineko loops, IMO. Because Umineko loops always follow they usually follow the formula set up by the epitaph.
Yeah, in Higurashi we always got the Tomitake and Takano.
Yeah.
Dying.
Higurashi spoilers. Oh.
Well, no, it's the first episode. It's free on Steam.
It's free on Steam. Go play on Ikakushi. Only don't play with Steam sprites.
Well.
Yeah, no. Okay, play with Steam sprites if you want to. However, we highly recommend original sprites. And or if you're feeling brave and contrarian, play with console sprites. You will get harassed by the entire Higurashi fandom, but I stand by this. Console sprites are okay.
The hot takes. Welcome to the Witches Gameboard podcast hot takes.
About Umineko, console sprites are really good. But I like Rikishi sprites too.
I agree. Console sprites, that's how I played. That's how a lot of people played. And they're good.
I like console sprites a lot.
We don't talk about pachinko sprites.
We don't talk about pachinko sprites. God, that Beatrice. There's just something wrong with that sprite.
Yeah. It looks a bit wonky. Yeah, this the second episode starts in the October 4th, the family conference starts, and one major difference is that this time we don't only get Beatrice as a character in the backstories. She actually appears in the flesh on the conference.
Huge.
She has a really cool new look. What I call her casual outfit.
Oh yeah, the one with the skirt. It's sick.
The short skirt. It's really good.
I like that. As soon as she appears, the portrait changes as well.
Yeah,
that shit's so cool.
Yeah, first off, we get it's a hint for what's to come, but the different portraits for each episode. I think that's really cool.
So, Beatrice being in the flesh is really interesting. However, I feel like we skipped over a little thing. Battler wakes up in something we call the meta world.
We finally get how this video game, this visual novel is gonna work. Because there's no more just Higurashi loops stuff happening. We get the meta world.
So if you remember, if you've ever read Higurashi, and this is not a spoiler or anything, because this is just like a small thing, specifically for question arcs, you had like a little episode review with characters usually out of character speaking about and theorizing about the episodes the episode that you've just read and what is to come next. So I think Rikishi kind of took that idea and ran with it with this for Umineko, but left the characters in character and added it to the narrative. So we have this meta world, which is in some ways just characters talking about the loop and theorizing.
I would,
in a way.
I don't know if the Higurashi comparison is apt here because, this is now the main thing, the main plot.
Yeah. Because for Higurashi, it was very much like an addendum.
Yeah, like a little bonus Easter egg, not really Easter egg, like a little bonus scene for fun. But here, this is the basis of the whole plot.
Yeah.
But then we get the meta world.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
It's sick.
I think it's one of the coolest things. It really makes this visual novel stand apart.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as we later learn, there will be a lot of theorizing and debating.
Right.
Which would be hard if stuff like reset every single episode.
Right.
No characters would remember anything.
So the meta world is basically our narrative connective tissue.
Mm-hmm.
And soon it will get way more important. But for now, it is still just Battler and Beato, and they will be discussing these loops as if they are a game that they're playing together. But the real purpose of that game we will discuss a little bit later once we hit the first Twilight.
The purpose of the game
Mm-hmm.
for Battler to give in and admit that magic exists,
Mm-hmm.
which he does not want to do. He denies all magic.
I mean, that's the winning condition for Beato. The basic premise of their game is fantasy versus anti-fantasy.
Someone has done the research.
Shut up! I'm just using the appropriate terms.
Have you actually read that booklet?
I did not.
Well, fake fan.
Listen here.
Fake fan. But yeah, you shouldn't read it if you haven't read episode 3 because there's spoilers.
Yeah. It was a little booklet that was released after episode 3, which we will remind you of during episode 3, so you can go and read it then. But for now, stick around because it has spoilers, obviously. But yeah, the basic premise is fantasy versus anti-fantasy or fantasy versus mystery, where Battler thinks that everything can be explained via human tricks, and Beatrice says, "Nah, it's all magic."
I don't know about you, but I'm seeing magic. Battler, he's very stubborn and he denies magic at every single step, despite being shown amazing feats of magic.
Yeah.
And also kind of talking to a witch and seeing the events play again with magic. It's a bit weird.
That dude is hanging out in this weird otherworldly space, keeps getting shown events stopping time and experiencing all of these very magical things happening, and yet he still kind of has the goal to go, "Oh no, magic does not exist actually, everything can be explained with humans." Oh, this is stupid. I think that's really humorous, but at the same time I really like that about Battler.
It's very endearing.
It's incredibly endearing. I love him. So most of the episode kind of goes the same as it did in episode 1. We get stuff like the inheritance talks. Now it's just a little bit abridged. But at some point we get our first Twilight.
First Twilight. Happy
Halloween! For Mario.
So, I don't know. When that hit, I was very excited when I was reading because, once again, we had a lot of long setup, a lot of downtime as in episode 1, and finally, stuff was going down again. People were dying.
Right, and in such a creative way too.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like this one a lot. It's so macabre. Also, like very very surreal. Like the entire setup of like a Halloween party with everyone's guts basically blown up.
Yeah, on the it's a very striking like imagery.
Yeah, very striking mental image for sure.
Like, and first of all, it's actually in a place we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
In the little chapel.
Yeah,
There was no mention of it in episode 1.
mm-hmm. It's probably my favorite first Twilight.
Mm.
There's one that rivals it, but we will get to it obviously later in the later episodes.
Out of the two we've seen, I guess I like it more than the first episodes.
Compared to the first episode, definitely. Like,
I mean, I really like the first episodes. Like, you know, it was finally something's going on. It's finally this shocking thing. In episode 2, you're first off expecting the first Twilight to be bloody and gory.
Yeah.
Second of all, it's a bit long-winded.
But I mean, it's so creative.
It is.
I like how creative it is.
But yeah, but like there's the whole thing with them not having the key to the chapel, so they have to like go. Yeah, they find it in Maria's letter that she had in her little purse.
Whoa, another locked room.
Locked room again. But yeah, they have to like go get it. They also have to go get it, and then they can finally see it. So I was like waiting, oh, show me it. I want to see it. Show me what's inside there.
I mean, I think that's the purpose of it. That's, it's building tension. You want to see what's inside. And I think the payoff of that is really, really good. It does not disappoint.
Yeah. But yeah, this time, almost all the adults, all the siblings and their partners, except Rosa.
Yeah, so that's Kraus, Natsuhi, Rudolph, Kiria, Hideyoshi, and Eva. So let's jump into the meta aspect now. Here we get introduced to our first little, I guess, element of meta, of the meta world, I guess you can say. Red truths.
It's so cool.
I love red truths. They're basically the most basic explanation for them. Okay, Reuel just looked at me with a very questioning face.
Okay, we've this podcast, like, you've played episode 2, you know. You've played
episode 2, but like, just a quick little catcher-upper so we're all on the same page.
Okay, sure.
You piece. Red truths are basically just statements that are true about this specific loop. They're
like unquestionably.
Yeah, like true. Unquestionably true. They can only be given out by, like, you can say maybe like a higher being, like a witch. Yeah, Battler cannot use them. So yeah, I really like how they're introduced here, and basically how Battler is trying to theorize, and Beatrice is just like, nope, here's a red truth as to why not. I like that a lot.
I mean, it forms the basis of all of their discussions. I think this was like, I think this is like the most iconic thing about Umineko.
Red truths?
Like Beatrice and red truths.
Yeah, probably.
Like before I knew about, like after I watched the anime and then didn't read or hear about it for years, the thing that like I've seen people talk about it, that it's really good. Talked about Beatrice, like Kinzo's obsession with her, etc., etc. And they talked about red truths and how it's a cool, very cool system, very unique. And it is very unique. I've never seen anything like this in other media.
I remember when I was first reading, I didn't know about the red truths yet, I'm pretty sure. And when they hit, and when I realized what they were, I was like, oh, this is brilliant. What a cool thing to introduce into a visual novel, because like it perfectly works with the medium, doesn't it?
Yeah, the text. And it's only a colored text.
Yeah, it's colored text is so important. Like I knew that colored text will be important at some point, but I didn't know exactly how was it important. So No, it's super sick. I really like retros, and this kind of system will only get developed later on, so it's always fun. It's really, really good. Okay, we can also talk about...
I mean, it happens later, but we can talk about it here.
Yeah, we can talk about it
because
here.
the narrative is kind of split. That some people run off, some people stay in one place, and we get the Canon and Jessica scene before we get Battler and Beato's discussion about what happened in the chapel. But for the sake of it, let's just talk about it first.
Sure, okay.
Because it's one of the coolest moments in the whole episode.
Repetition request.
Yeah, so Battler finally does something good.
He's finally displaying at least some competence.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Like, he's introduced to this new concept, and he very quickly grasps what he can do with it.
Yeah, he very quickly adapts to it. It's true.
Yeah, 1 second it seems that, oh no, now he's done. Like, this is the ultimate weapon against him. She doesn't need to prove anything and can just say stuff.
Yeah.
And then he realizes that he can use it to his advantage.
Yeah.
And actually defeat her using her own red truth. And I think that's really cool.
That scene is so sick.
And Dread of the Grave.
Yeah.
Is the song that gets introduced here, and it's a really good song.
It's really, really good. I tell you, that shit, I think I messaged you about it while I was playing. I was so hype about that moment. It's so cool because you see Battler realize how to play within the system.
Yeah.
And he immediately backs Beatrice into a corner pretty much.
He wins that duel, you could say. Like that Twilight. She resigns and says he won for now.
Yeah. Which is really cool to give Battler that first win.
Yeah, it is. But then he does not win again in the episode. So it's kind of funny.
I think that's also kind of the fact that you give him that win and then let him lose a bunch also kind of gives that just how hard this game really is actually for Battler. It will always be an uphill battle.
Yeah, I guess if he didn't win here and then he lost throughout the whole episode,
it would just feel unfair.
Yeah, it would just not feel good. But now we're shown that he can win, and then later he loses because he's kind of stupid.
What happens to the best of us, right?
And doesn't want to suspect anyone, but we'll get to that. But in the meantime, this, we skipped around because an important scene happens. Even more magic.
Yeah.
If the Battler really wanted to doubt, here's even more magic for you.
Right.
Jessica and Canon versus the goat.
The goat. The greatest of all time Battler.
Yeah, first of all, we get a new character, Goat-kun.
My favorite
character.
Ooh.
I mean, they're pretty cool.
Some versions have them muscly, some versions have them lean. What is your favorite version of the Goat-kun?
I think I like them in the console sprites.
Yeah,
because I like how huge they are.
I like how imposing they are.
Yeah.
And I think they were always supposed to be huge. I mean, I do like the lean ones because they feel... I feel like the muscly ones look like they would break you. The lean ones look like they would eat you. And I don't know which one is scarier.
True. They are pretty intimidating.
Yeah.
And definitely even more if you have to fucking sword fight them with a laser sword.
Speaking of which, what the fuck?
Yeah. I know some people that didn't like this. But that's kind of crazy. I think it was really cool.
No, it's sick. Kanan gets a fucking laser sword. It's awesome. I mean, it's very much at this point of the story, you've already read the entire episode too, so we can say this. It really feels like Shannon and Kanan are kind of like Kinzo's familiars. And at that point, do you think the Fukuin house backstory is even true?
I mean, Kinzo definitely has something to do with magic,
Yeah.
and as we learn, Shannon and Canon too.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether they're like recruited into some cult of his, or, maybe you're saying maybe the Fukuin house is doing that. We don't know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what if because the way Kinzo talks about, because that would actually explain the furniture thing. Because they might not be actually people. They might be something similar to golems. Or like a summoned entity.
Yeah, that would make sense. But
And that is also the reason why they can use magic. And why maybe like the Ushirimiya seal, like the crest, is like a seal that keeps them bound to this world.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting reading of it.
Yeah, that's how I saw it when I read it. I like that idea a lot personally.
Yeah, I think it's cool. But yeah, them using magic, is really cool. I would say that it's out of nowhere, but if you were playing Umineko Project, you've probably already seen the console arc, like the PS3 questions arc opening, which just spoils you.
Yeah, it spoils a bunch of magic stuff.
It spoils a bunch of stuff, but that part is it stands out a lot. You see Shannon with the barrier and Canon with a sword in just plain sight. So the only thing I was surprised is that it comes this early. I thought this would be later down the episodes.
Yeah. I like
the residents would fight back against the witch using magic.
I do like how the two Kinzo's familiars have the two. I mean, Genji is also kind of a familiar, right?
Yeah, Genji gets remember that scene in this episode where he throws a knife at a golden butterfly? I think it's really cool.
That shit's awesome. But I like that the two that are supposedly the sister and brother, they're basically Kinzo's sword and shield.
True.
That shit's so sick.
It is. Yeah, 'cause she's the defensive, he's the offensive.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when we get the scene, Canon versus the goat, and then he defeats it. And then we get the scene of Canon versus completely new characters. The Stakes of Purgatory.
Oh man, we have to also mention that Canon at this moment is with Jessica.
Yeah. And, he defends Jessica and then ultimately
gets owned.
Cannot.
I mean, yeah, we have to talk about the Stakes of Purgatory.
Yeah, let's talk about all of them right now.
All of them right
now?
now?
What do you think? In this episode, we see 1, 2, 3 of them? 4 of them? We will see more later, but we see... The first one we see is Asmodeus.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second one is Satan.
Based.
I remember when I first saw that, I laughed out loud that there's a character called literally Satan. But yeah, Satan.
Mm-hmm.
And then later I think we get Beelzebub.
I don't remember exactly.
And then, okay, but what do you think about the Stakes of Purgatory?
I like them a lot. They're cool.
They're cool. Their designs are a bit questionable.
It's Rikishi. He has to put crotch thrills on everything.
He gave them crotch frills, which will be a pattern.
It will be a pattern. But I mean, I don't know. I can't be mad at them. They're really cool. I just like them as a concept a lot. And also it kind of adds to that. It adds to that kind of Western fantasy demonic type vibe that they're really going for. Because not only do they use demon names, right? Like Satan, Asmodeus and stuff like that. They also via vibe, them being these basically demon girls, right? They almost remind me via aesthetic of a Master and Margarita type thing. You know what I mean? It gave me those vibes when I first read it.
Yeah, it does
it feels how do I say this? It feels very
But they also have like the title of the 7 Deadly Sins.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it feels very like they have the appearance of humans, but it's like just a little bit weird, just a tiny bit twisted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they wear weird outfits, they transform into steaks, they speak weird, they bounce around, they phase through walls and stuff like that. It just feels very. It's just like slight bit of over the augmented reality. Maybe is the way I'm willing to like say it.
Yeah, it's like it's like supernatural beings interacting with the real world.
It's more so like if these stakes were like big monsters, then the vibe would be completely different.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The fact that they're like they look like humans, but they're just slightly off. I like that a lot. I don't know why. That gives them like a really cool air of like mystique around them. Very like Western occult, you know? It's pretty cool.
But yeah, despite his best efforts, Kanon gets fucking owned.
Despite his best efforts, Kanon gets fucking owned.
Yeah, and Jessica too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, she protects him for a second, and then he also dies. So that was that.
Right.
And
we get a nice little discussion with Battler and Bat also, where we basically learn, oh yeah, no fucking hidden doors ever.
Yeah, but before that, like, we get like, you know, like earlier in the episode, Kanon said that, oh, he does have like a real name. Like, we know Shannon's name is Sayo.
Yeah.
And Kanon's like, yeah, I also have like, you know, my real name, not the Fukuin house given me.
Yeah, the blessed name, quote unquote.
Yeah. And like here where Jessica's dying, he wants to tell her in the last moments, but doesn't make it. Like she passes away before he can. And you know, it's a really sad moment. That's the second Twilight.
It is. Two people who are close who will be ripped apart.
It's funny, like later when they like the rest of the survivors come in and discover, like, first of all, Beatrice is a troll. She's like, you thought you're gonna like have peace and death? No, fuck you. And she like fucking vaporizes him. So that they were like thinking that he is a culprit.
Mm-hmm. That's messed up.
Yeah, it's she does a little trolling.
Troll beta.
But yeah, they people come in and they like start theorizing, and like Jessica and Kanon are there as ghosts. Yeah. It's really like sad, but also kind of funny. Like, you know, they're screaming at them, like Jessica's screaming at them that they're wrong.
Yeah. That
Kanon didn't do it, and he just like they're resigned, but no one can hear them.
Yeah, it's really sad. It's a really cool scene though.
Mm-hmm.
I really like the light fantasy vibe of episode 2 in general because of that. Like, again, it's a lot of that. Like, it doesn't feel like it goes full fantasy just yet. But it just has like those little moments, like the stakes phasing through walls, or like Kanon and Jessica standing there as ghosts. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it is.
Especially considering just how, I guess you could say, realistic episode 1 was.
I mean, yeah, there was
besides like letters appear. Yeah,
there was no like this episode we get much more like explosive and visually stimulating like feats of magic. In episode 1, like a lot of the magic happened off screen, and we only like came into results, like the impossible locked room.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because
we see that magic happened here, but we don't like. We only see like, you know, golden butterflies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
Jessica's and Kanon's like death scene is also a locked room.
No, true.
Yeah, you might notice a pattern, by the way. Pretty much from this point onwards, almost every scene, unless stated otherwise, is a locked room.
Yeah. Really, like, since Battler had trouble with that one locked room from the first episode, she really said, yeah, we'll have some more.
Based.
And just now every single murder is a locked room.
Right.
So one thing we didn't talk about is Rosa has a fucking gun. We neglected to say that.
Sorry, we neglected to say that Rosa, the very important fact, Rosa is running around with a fucking rifle.
Yeah, and as we know, she's not the most reasonable people. I would be a bit scared.
I'm definitely a bit scared.
And like episode 1, we got Natsuki with the rifle.
Based.
And episode 2, we got Rosa with the rifle.
Next episode, we're gonna get Genji with the rifle.
Yeah, I think next episode it's gotta be either Eva or Kiria. I think like
the MILF rifle.
The pattern makes it that the Umineko MILFs have a rifle.
You know, it's like the blunt rotation, but instead you pass around the rifle.
Oh my god.
The Umineko rifle rotation.
The rifle rotation. But yeah, but Rosa has a rifle and she's girl bossing with it.
Mm-hmm.
She points it a bit too like easily at people.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like immediately as they like find Jessica, and she points at the servants. Another really cool thing is the wolves and sheep puzzle.
Oh yeah.
It's been like it's brought up a lot in this episode, and it's Maria really likes those puzzles. I think it's cool.
Yeah. It's brought up in the first episode at first, like the puzzle's existence itself, but I think
it's explained
here
in this episode, and I think it's really cool. I think it's not really useful to Battler yet, because he's so adamant about not suspecting anyone.
Yeah.
But in the future, like when he will eventually have to, it will be useful, because this is something like they really need to consider in their current circumstances. Like anyone could be working, like now that we know, anyone could be working with the witch.
Mm-hmm.
So it is very dangerous, but Rosa takes it a bit too hard.
Right.
Like she's paranoid and suspects everyone.
I mean, wouldn't you at that point? Like that shit's terrifying. Think about someone working with like a supernatural witch.
Yeah, but it's scary when that person is like when the person who's really paranoid is the one with the gun.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So yeah, she's paranoid to the point where she like asks the servants to leave and only like wants the Uchinomiya family proper to stay.
That's saucy.
That's I mean, it's a rich people thing. I think that's like just shows her
classism.
Yeah, it's a bit class. I mean, it is classist. But yeah, we have a lot of like Battler and Maria bonding in this episode. Like, Battler is really kind of going through it.
Yeah.
Like he's taking it way worse than he was in episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
In episode 1, he was, kind of cool, kind of like tried to stay on top of things. Like after he had a big breakdown at the beginning in the first Twilight. And in this, like he kind of had the two, but later was kind of cooler. Here, he's way more, maybe because of Rosa.
Probably, yeah.
He's way more scared, and Maria comforts him.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really cute. Like Maria, she's a bit suspicious with all the occult stuff, but she's also like constantly saying Battle like, no, don't worry. If you're with me, you're gonna be fine. Beatrice is not gonna do anything to you.
I like Maria as this like little demon child. I'm pretty sure I talked about this in episode 1, but her role pretty much kind of remains the same. She is there to be a little bit creepy, a little bit off, but she is still she violently like believes in the fact that Beatrice will make everything better in the very end.
Yeah. And this is another clearly it's working for her, because another episode and she's once again like she survives to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, the end, we'll talk about the end when that happens. Since we're on the occult and magic, we get yet another wild magic scene.
Oh yeah.
This time with Canon.
Ooh, interesting.
Canon but evil.
We get mid 2000s hot topic Canon.
Red irises.
Oh my god, he's so like me. Do you think Red Eye Canon likes Shadow the Hedgehog, the video game?
Yes, I think he loves My Chemical Romance.
What is it? His favorite My Chemical Romance record is The Black Parade, let it be known. Unironically listens to Evanescence.
Unironically calls himself emo.
True. He has like at least a couple of wigs. Like a bunch of like he usually wears his like servant attire, but when he goes out to the town, he has spikes on all of his clothes.
Yeah.
30 Seconds to Mars t-shirt. His iPod is on permanent loop of The Kill by 30 Seconds to Mars.
Your Honor, let it be known, I hate it.
You can see that I had an emo phase as well.
Yeah. But the evil Canon comes in, kills people, and then like gets owned by Shannon.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool. Like, a couple seconds later, like earlier, Rosa warns them that if Canon actually like appears, if he's alive, then do not trust him because he is working with the killer. And then like exactly that happens.
Right.
Like he appears and like says that he's injured, and when they try to treat him, he like kills people.
So do you think he might be like Beatrice's familiar?
I mean, yeah, that's what he said. Like, I'm gonna like when she vaporized him from the room where Jessica died, she's like, I will still have a use for you, and then she like uses his body. Because he was not acting like Canon.
Yeah.
He would not. And then like Shannon deals with him, like saying that, oh yeah, the witch hates spiderwebs.
Oh yeah.
So she can use that. That was really cool. Like she like immediately like you can see that she knows that something's wrong, and she runs off to get the spiderweb, but like comes back too late, and Nanja and Kumasawa already got hit.
Right. Now that scene where they get fucking, what was it? Were they like decapitated?
No, they were like their throats were slit with the sword.
Yeah. That shit is so cool.
Yeah, it is.
I like that a lot.
Really metal.
The metal.
Yes. Well, because like it's described that like blood spattered everywhere like a fountain. That's
really sick.
Really sick. But yeah, Shannon to the rescue once again.
God, she's so based.
He's cool. And Rosa does not take to that lightly. She basically like says that they all made up this elaborate story. Does not believe them at all. And I mean, it's kind of hard to blame her because
yeah, I guess
she wasn't there, so they couldn't see it. So it's obvious. Like, and she's so paranoid, she doubts everyone. So she's gonna doubt them.
Right.
But yeah, I'm sorry, I messed up the timeline. George wasn't a proletariat hero just yet. This is the point where earlier they just kind of like all split up, and no, she asked the servants to leave, and George stayed, and then here is where she's like, only the Ushiramiyas stay, and George is like, no, I'll go with Shannon. But and so only like Battler, Rosa, and Maria stay in the room, and everyone else at this point is just Shannon, Genji, Goda and George. Well, I remember this part because around here is where we got the best moment of a really cool moment in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
That is Battler once again, like, crying, being incompetent.
Oh, yeah.
And then Beatrice actually, like, calling him out, saying in red, "You are incompetent."
Now, I will say this. Every time a meta scene happened, I was really hype about it. Like, every meta scene bangs because you get to see more Beatrice, you get to see the Battler and Beatrice banter. It's really, really good. I just meant specifically, like, I wasn't at that point, like, I was like, the events of the loop were kind of losing me. But the meta stuff was still incredible. Like, I love that scene where she calls him incompetent. It's like the way she just says it in red, and because we know what red means, like, we just got introduced. That shit is like, what a fucking diss.
yeah, and it's true. It's proven in red. But he kind of is, though. Like, I mean, he is.
Yeah, at this point,
because
definitely.
He's like still refusing to suspect anyone. He's like, no, I'm not gonna suspect one of my fellow family members.
So, in Natsuhi's room, there's a moment where Shannon basically
they go on a whole journey. Like, remember, they go to the chapel to get the key, and then they go to Natsuhi's room.
Do.
They got like chased around by the golden butterflies.
That's kind of cool.
That was kind of cool. Like, it really was really tense.
Imagine like a Scooby-Doo scene with that. they run into different rooms of the mansion, like golden butterflies following them.
I love how you say that the second after I said it was really tense. But yeah,
it was really funny.
The scene after is kind of funny with like Goda locking the door and the door unlocking on its own.
Right.
And then we get another stake that appears and kills him.
Yeah, that part is so sick. She phases through the door.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you think that you're safe in there because you closed the door, like, nope, you're not.
It's pretty cool. And yeah, we get the confrontation of Beatrice versus Shannon, because George was not doing anything.
No, I swear, George was there. He was emotional support.
Yeah, he was the emotional support boyfriend for Shannon. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. I wish that the opening didn't spoil it, because she had the barrier. That was really cool. And she actually like held out long, but
yeah, Shannon does a girl boss moment.
Yeah, she like shit talked Beatrice for a second.
Especially considering that like Beatrice so far has been like such a major threat.
Yeah.
With all of her like familiars and shit, and Shannon just goes, "Well, fuck you. Actually, you're pathetic."
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But in the end, it doesn't matter. They all die.
Sadly.
But yeah, like then we get like the rest, like Genji, the survivors. So like Genji, Rosa, Battler, and Maria. They like first discover Nanjo's and Kumasawa's corpses, and then they discover Goda's, George's, and Shannon's corpses.
Right.
And man, the one CG of Shannon's body like slumped over the desk.
That's so cool.
It's really good. I mean, overall, the CGs in this episode are really fucking cool. The first one of the first Twilight.
I mean, we don't really get a CG there.
What do you mean? We do.
We get one with like
of
with
the people like
looking at
it.
Scene.
I think that's a really sick one. Like Like I guess the CG of what's actually there would be better, but like I think this works so that like it's your imagination.
Yeah. And it's such a surreal scene that it's better almost not to show it.
It's better not to show it, and then like your mind is gonna only imagine it, and then you only like see the shocked reactions to it. But yeah, Rosa once again is Rosa's not happy. People are dying.
Wow, crazy thought.
But yeah, there's the moment where they come back and Battler finds an envelope and she starts suspecting him. that she claims that he was the wolf all along, and just tells him to stay away and runs off with Maria. It makes like it's a scene that like really it's kind of sad because it makes sense. She's stressed. Everyone else is dead.
Right.
One of them has to be the killer. But like we know the Battler didn't do it.
I mean, how do you know?
Well, because he's the protagonist.
He's incompetent.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. He couldn't do it.
Pull this off because he's incompetent and red.
There's no way he could do it. But yeah, we got a little Battler is depressed moment.
Brattler.
They
just call him Brattler.
He is, because he engages in a little underage drinking.
Mr. Brattler, you cannot drink that.
Yeah, and I love that like Genji comes in and like looks disapprovingly, like it specifically said that.
Let it be known, Rikishi had to really specify Genji does not approve of underage drinking.
And Battler gets invited into Kinzo's study. But yeah, we've completely forgot about Kinzo.
Oh yeah, Kinzo just kind of hangs out in his room
the entire time. This time.
Right.
He was just sleeping through the whole thing in his room.
He was being a grandpa.
Eventually, finally, Beatrice revived and appeared in front of him. So Battler rushes in there and gets owned. He basically gives up.
Give me a second, because I'm wondering real quick. Okay, wasn't it supposed to be like for Beatrice to revive? There can only be like 3 people left, right?
No, it's 5.
5 people?
Yeah, 13 for the sacrifices. 6 for the first Twilight. Well, 2 for the second Twilight. And then the head, the knee, the stomach, the back, and 1 more, I don't remember. And the chest.
Yeah.
5. So that's 5. 13.
Yeah.
And there's 18 people on the island, so 5 people
will
survive.
Right. Okay, because... Wait, but that doesn't make sense too much.
What do you mean?
Because in the first episode, the final
5.
Yeah.
Maria, Jessica, George, Battler, Natsuhi.
Natsuhi dies.
Natsuhi gets owned outside of the... She gets owned by her own gun.
Yeah.
She doesn't get owned by a stake. It's not part of the
That is true. No, you're right. For some reason, my brain was like, no, you have to... There's something weird here. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah. So this loop, the 5 remaining is Rosa, Maria, Battler, Genji, and Kinzo.
Yeah.
And Battler confronts Beatrice and she basically like answers every of his questions with magic. To the point where he just gives up.
He becomes a bottom.
He always was.
Let's be real.
So, he engages in a little pegging session from Beatrice.
Whoa, not safe for work.
This podcast is not safe for work. He indulges in a little naked posing.
Oh yeah. A little Battler on a leash moment.
Yes.
Okay, we have to talk about this entire like ending.
Yeah, because this ending is really like way different than the first episode. First episode's like ending is very tense in a way like of suspense, like what is going on. Second episode's like Meta Battler kind of like gave up. He could not fight against Beatrice, and the in the loop Battler also gave up. Like became her furniture. Like at this point of the game, the meta and the stuff like loop stuff like kind of the border like blurs.
Yeah.
Because we get the demon banquet. Banquet?
The banquet, yeah.
And
it's super sick.
Yeah, it is really cool. And then like when Bernkastel appears.
Oh, that shit's so sick.
She takes off the go ahead and there she is.
That CG in the console version is so cool. It's one of my favorite CGs from the Questions arcs.
With Naked Battler there.
Yeah, Naked Battler and Burncastel.
It is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. I like that one a lot. It's such a cool like last like what hour or so.
Yeah.
Where it just really goes full fantasy, full horror even.
Yes. I mean, yeah, when he and Kinzo
straight up get eaten by
goats. And the screams and everything,
it's done so well too. The sound design is incredible.
It's mortifying to read.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I like it a lot. I just love how I don't know how it was with the original backgrounds, because again I've played the console version basically. But with the console version you get this like really beautiful version of the whole of the Rokkenjima Mansion main hall.
Yeah.
With all the golden butterflies flying around and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really
it looks
nice.
very, very magical and cool. Reuel, you may know this from the beginning, and I'm pretty sure I said this before. I was like a hardcore Magic stan. I was like, Battler, you just don't understand. It's all magic, obviously. Just look at it. I was really validated during that time. I was like, hey, that shit looks so sick. But yeah, I don't know. I really like that one. And then
the banquet, and then we get the Rosa scene.
Yeah, the one that like spawned like a million fan games.
Yeah. I mean, it's once again we thank our Mr. ZTS for composing bangers.
True. World End Dominator.
Yeah, World End Dominator is an amazing song, and it really makes that scene so memorable.
Yeah.
Her and Mario like kind of stumbling around.
Like when I read that, it felt like she was fucking owning the goats.
Well, yeah, but like they're running away. Mario's barely holding on. It's really interesting how like Rosa gives her the gun to reload, and Maria knows how to reload a gun. and like, meanwhile, Rosa like kind of slings this gold bar and just fights off against waves of goats.
It's such a sick fucking
really
scene.
Cool. But I really like, not to excuse the abuser, but I really like its ending. Where Rosa has to choose between the gold or Maria. Yeah. And she chooses Maria. Yeah. She would like, it shows her character that it's not, she might like, be a horrible person, be an abusive person. But she like really still cares about Maria somewhere deep down. Yeah, definitely. She just has like problems managing her anger issues. Which is not excusable, but still, like, some other character would take the gold and ditch the child, but
it's
not
more so
Rosa.
Like, it really shows the nuance of Rosa's character, that she's not just she's not just a horrible person, specifically. She still cares about Maria a lot, and that's where the nuance comes from. Like, I feel like she's a very realistic portrayal of
abusers. Yeah,
abusive parents.
Yeah.
Where the parental instinct is still there. She really cares for Maria, and she might even deeply love her. It's just that, like, I think she does, actually. She does deeply love her. But it's just people who cannot really control their emotions really well in some instances, or are driven into a corner by their own insecurities about their child.
Yeah, it's, I think, like, it's Rikishi's social worker background. He knows a lot about this stuff. Yeah. Around abuse. So I love that he's using it in his works. Like putting it to use in his works.
Yeah, definitely.
But we see that even more when we get to the tea party.
Oh, yeah.
Because this was the end of the episode. Way different ending than the first one. Episode, like, the ending of the first episode, maybe not hopeful, but like it's
not as soul crushing as this one if you're really rooting for Battler's side.
Yeah, it is a little bit soul crushing, but not this much. And I really want to talk about Melody. Not you, Melody.
Yeah, another Melody. Melody the song.
Melody the song, because it's such a good song.
Mhm.
and it plays around the episode, but only the instrumental version, and then
Mhm.
finally during the credits.
It is one of my favorite vocal themes in the entirety of Umineko.
It's so good.
It's really, really
So
pretty.
good. I mean, Bring the Fate from the first episode is also amazing.
Hmm.
Like, so far, 242 were amazing songs at the very end of the episode.
I mean, sort of spoilers. All vocal themes
Yeah,
are great.
are really good, yeah.
They're really, really good.
But this one might be one of my favorites, though.
I see. I don't know if it's like my favorite because my favorite would be the one from episode 6, which we will get at some point. I think so. Like, yeah, I think my 2 favorites are from episode 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's respectable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all vocal songs are really good. All songs in Umineko are really, really good.
That's true. Now the Umineko soundtrack goes insane.
It's, it is a work of art.
So true.
But yeah, we go into the tea party. And I
Mhm.
think this is one of the coolest tea parties of the whole novel.
Yeah. Oh my
Like-
god. Okay. This introduced a really interesting horror concept to me. And it's that like
Melody discovers her newfound vor fetish.
no, absolutely not. But
But yeah, I see you.
Absolutely not. I just find the concept of involuntary cannibalism to be so interesting as a horror concept.
As a horror concept, huh?
Don't make it weird.
It is weird. It's cannibalism. But yeah,
Yeah.
that moment is really... In this episode, there was a little bit of horror,
Mhm.
but a lot of magic, more of a spectacle. Like action scenes, more so than like horror scenes.
like in this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this tea party is just pure horror.
Mm-hmm.
It is...
It's like very crawling, almost like
Yeah.
very crawling horror. That type, like Higurashi type horror, I even say.
Exactly. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you really are put in Rosa's shoes for this, and the very graphic descriptions, the amazing voice acting work of Rosa's voice actor.
Yeah.
It's described as they're pushing food into her mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and her voice acting reflects that. She's
Yeah,
actively choking on stuff, trying to say it, crying words. It's really
It's
well
great.
done, and and then of course all the symbolism, because she's eating her own siblings, and
Yeah.
each one of them is prepared differently,
Mm-hmm.
and how it reflects how Rosa views them.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention the soundtrack for this moment. Daydream's End.
Yeah, it's so
one of the
good.
coolest songs in this episode as well. Love it to death.
Yeah, the
It's,
choir is
Mhm.
just so good.
I think it really associates with this moment. I don't it does play throughout the rest of the novel sometimes,
A couple times, yeah.
a couple of times, but I feel like this is the moment that it really stuck with me.
I agree. It is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Shout outs to Ganriki. He does it again.
He does it again. Are we gonna name drop all the composers?
Ah.
I mean, all of them did an amazing job.
They did, yeah.
So-
I'm just the big Ganriki stan here.
Well, just you wait until we get to later episodes where Zaki comes in.
True. Okay, well.
Okay, Zaki already had a couple songs,
Yeah.
but
No, I love Zaki stuff.
yeah, and this tea party, it's when Maria comes in,
Mm-hmm.
Rosa is already despairing when it's her siblings, but then Maria is introduced.
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good part of the tea party.
It's even worse for her, and she asks her, "Oh, was I a burden?"
Mm-hmm.
And Rosa screams out, "No, that's not true!" Crying. Actually, the
Mhm.
voice actor does, once again, I'm gonna say, amazing job.
Yeah.
This whole thing is just written perfectly.
Mm-hmm. It's very hard to watch, but I think that's so good. What's so good about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it builds up on the we see Beatrice being this villain, like, you know, puppeteering battler, like ridding him of any dignity, like or prancing him around, having him walk around naked. And you know, that's despicable enough. But now this, like, we're truly shown
just
the depths of her cruelty.
I think this is Beatrice at her cruelest, honestly. And it's fucking sick.
It is really good. But luckily, Battler to the rescue.
Pug!
Battler comes back revitalized by seeing his aunt hurt. He springs back into action to defend her and his family. I don't know. I was really happy that this happened because, you know, he took some beatings in this episode.
I mean, he got really demoralized by the end. I did not expect him to just immediately jump in, it is really cool that it happened.
Yeah, like, you know, he needed a moment to process everything, and he finally, like, regained his will to fight. So that, you know, for the future episodes. Yeah. It was a really exciting moment. And yeah, this whole tea party was just amazingly written.
Let's move on to the witches' tea party.
We get the 34.
The 3-4?
The Lambda.
Delta. Lady Lambda Delta.
The witch.
As some of you may know, as some of you may not know, Massive Lambda Delta Stan is currently in this podcast right now, and that is me.
That is not me. No, I like Lambda Delta, but yeah, Melody is the number one Lambda Delta fan on this planet Earth.
I love her. She's so funny.
But she appears.
Finally. So I was really looking forward to Lambda Delta appearing because I knew of her existence. And I mostly was really interested in her because I read Higurashi first. And from what I knew, she was pretty similar to Satoko.
Another favorite of yours?
Another favorite of mine. Satoko is my favorite Higurashi character. I grew really protective of her around episode 3 of Higurashi, and ever since I've just been obsessed with her. With Lambda, she really did not disappoint because she feels like Sadako, but like mixed with Takano and on a sugar rush.
Yeah, she's very just overload of energy.
I love that about her. She's so fun.
Yeah, she's really fun. I when I read, I didn't know anything because I didn't know Higurashi. I recognized that Berncastel kind of looks like Rika. Yeah, and obviously like let's address in this tea party. She does the Nipa Nipa. So I recognized that, but I did not know anything about. I barely knew. I don't think I knew about Sadako. So I did not know anything about Lambda Delta. So to me, she was a completely new character, and I liked her a lot. I like Lambda Delta. She's really cool. Yeah, I like, you know, the lore that's built up, that she is the strongest. She was the strongest witch, right? Until Berncastel beat her, and now she's like. It's said that that Beatrice has a good matchup against Berncastel, but a horrible one against Lambda Delta. Yeah. And you know, it's funny, like it is really like finally lives up to the witches tea party. Yeah, we finally get a lot of witches. Yeah, we finally have like more than 2, like kind of 3 of them, 3 witches, and they're just kind of talking, discussing what happened in the game. Yeah, I remember this is the tea party that really made me await the witches tea parties way more, because you remember I obviously love Umineko as a whole, but I'm always really, really invested in the magic side of it all. I love the witches. They're just so out there and so weird and so entertaining.
I just love seeing them on screen.
Yeah, I love seeing like, the development of the world outside of
Exactly.
like the witch world outside of Rokkenjima.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, there are some other witches other than Beatrice. What are they doing? Like, it's really cool to see.
Because it's always like said that Beatrice is a very respected witch.
Yeah.
But respected by whom?
Yeah.
Other witches. And it's like there's this whole entire world of witches out there, and the only two we see for now, well, three, I guess. Yeah, three is the endless witch Beato. We see Lambda, who is the witch of certainty, and we see Berncastel, who is the witch of miracles. But that implies so much more. There are so many witches out there. And it's so cool and interesting.
It is like promising a lot.
Mm-hmm. It feels like it feels like one of those like little pieces of media that you watch as a kid that like promises that there is like a big world outside. And you get all giddy about like exploring it.
Yeah.
That's how I felt with Umineko at this point.
Yeah, the world building in Umineko gets like there's not much of the fantasy world yet, but it goes places, and I really like it.
Yeah, it's sick.
But the witches appear. They have a little fun. They have a little tea. They like each, except Beatrice, like both Berncastel and Lambda take turns like cheering up Battler.
Yeah.
Like I like the idea that he was the reason why he came back suddenly so energetic in the previous tea party is because like they cheered him up.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Berncastel is supposedly on his side. So
yeah, but Lambda is kind of playing both sides.
I mean, yeah, I think like she just likes to have fun.
Yeah.
So she cheers him up because she sees that he's losing. That marks the end of our non-spoiler section.
Right. So, from this point onwards, we will be talking about the rest of the novel and how it relates to episode 2.
If you haven't read more than episode 2, you have like a second to go. Bye-bye. That was nice. Thanks everyone. For listening. But yeah.
Only the spoiler kids are here now. And we go 3, 2, 1. Yasu! Brainpot!
Yasu! This episode gave us so much.
Oh my god. Okay. So I can drop the pretense of being like, oh my god, Shannon and Kanan are actually Kinzo's familiars.
Yeah, that was... I didn't know where you were going with that one, but it's cool. It's cool.
No, this is actually something that I considered when I was playing, because it was like that's what it felt like it was setting up. It was it felt like it was setting up the servants to be like furniture, to be basically servants in a very magical sense.
Yeah, it's gonna be more of that in episode 3 when you like get Quadori and Beatrice and like. They're like Beto basically saying that she was not human, she was like a homunculus to house Beatrice's soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Then like I remember that around then you were like very high on your like Shannon and Kanan and Genji are all like Kinzo's homunculus familiars.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a sick idea.
It is cool, but we know how magic works in Umineko.
Well, yeah, at this point, yeah. but back then I didn't know. Back then
you didn't, yeah. But it's cool how you can make theories like this.
Yeah. Oh man. Speaking of stuff that happened in this episode that completely recontextualizes once you know everything behind the magical happenings at Rokkenjima. Oh man, that entire scene with Jessica takes on a way new meaning.
Yeah.
She should not have said that to Kana.
Yeah. I mean that and George with the I want children. Like
I will be talking about this. I'm saving this for later. But oh man.
I mean, it's like everything with Yasu, like the scene of Eva chastising her, Natsuki, like the scene where Natsuki mistreats her, like all that, like it's all here. It was all here plain for us to see, and we just chose to not see it.
Yeah, not only that, the fucking red ice canon. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, that's like so obvious.
I can just imagine Sayo going to the store before the Rokkenjima massacre to get some red eye lenses.
Yeah. I mean, she didn't even need to do that. Like, they only hear this story from the servants.
Yeah.
So, she probably just bought them off. So, and it's so obvious that this magical story of a dead person appearing and being evil, and then being burned away by a cobweb, it's so obvious it's not magic. It's so obvious, but you don't know that when you're reading.
It's kind of hilarious. I really like it.
Yeah, some people criticize that episode 2 magic scenes are too over the top, that the duel with the goat butler is too much.
That's just so cool.
People say that it obviously is not true because of how extra it is, but I disagree. I think I at least I don't know about you. I took it. I swallowed it. Hook, line, and sinker.
No, I swallowed that I swallowed the hook, line, and sinker. I was a magic stan for up until the magic got disproven. I was like, aw.
Yeah.
I was so hype about this idea of this entire magical world. I
mean, it's still true.
Yeah, true.
It's true.
Real.
It's magic, but it's just we know. But yeah, Yasu in this episode, it's also makes so much sense. Because this is episode 2, this is the first... the first game was just kind of a normal duel, you could say, between battle and battle. Second game is when she's crafting it more. That's why all the scenes are of the flashbacks, everything around there is crafted. So it's obviously second episode is the one that focuses the most on the most important characters, and then it focuses on who? Shannon and Kanon the most. It should be so obvious. It's not just it doesn't focus on Battler, it doesn't focus on George or Jessica. No, it focuses on Shannon and Kanon.
And that is really
Maria
cool.
in a bit. I said, it focuses on Rosa, but actually it focuses on Maria a lot more.
Rosa kind of doesn't get an episode then.
I mean, yeah, I guess this is her episode, but half of it. She gets a whole tea party to herself. That's more than anyone else.
That's true.
But yeah, it's the hints are so obvious now. On the reread, it seems so clear. It's right there.
Yeah, but I feel like most people are not inclined to think about the story this way yet.
Yeah.
Because you must really think about it. Rikishi trains us throughout the entire fucking novel how to engage with it.
yeah, you really are taught how to think along with Battler.
Yeah. Which is really cool.
Which is I find it really hilarious that in the end, you go through this journey with Battler, but at the end of episode 5, Battler realizes it. And 99% of people who are reading do not realize it yet.
Yeah, not yet.
And I love that, you're with him through this journey, but then he jumps in front of you.
Yeah, he jumps in front of you, and that's when he becomes the game master himself.
Yeah, and you're left in the dust, not knowing. I've heard that some people didn't like that too. I really loved it. But we'll get to that in episode 6.
We have our own opinions here on the Witch's Gameboard podcast.
Lord knows we have a lot of them.
So we have to talk about how this episode is finally the start of what we call Umineko style debates.
Yeah, it's I love it. It was an immediate. I don't remember. In the original when I watched the Umineko anime, episode 2 is when I stopped watching. I watched to Kanon's goat duel, and after that finished, I think that's where I stopped. So that's as far as I knew.
I see. After this, you were blind.
Yes. So, and I don't know. I remember for when I decided to play this game, I I didn't remember the discussions that much. So when I actually read it and, the red truth appeared, like, maybe because it was the anime and it didn't execute it that well. But in the novel, like, once red truth hit and repetition request and, Dread of the Grave started playing, like, I knew, like, oh yeah, I love this. This is, I really like this visual novel. Mm-hmm. And I want to read more.
I think it's just really hard to do that kind of stuff outside of a visual novel unless you're really leaning into like very creative directive choices.
Yeah, you have to be like very, like take some very creative, like the directing needs to be like on a high level.
Yeah, I feel like it needs to be really creative with how it shows these concepts off, because it can't just make like a blue truth, for example. It cannot just be blue text.
Yeah, it cannot just like appear blue subtitles and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, or like the screen can turn blue or whatever. That's like, it's fine. You can do it that way, but I feel like that's diminishing the impact of it. Mm-hmm. I personally always saw this as sort of like basically like anime battles. A little bit. It becomes that later. Not at the very, very beginning. Like at the very, very beginning, there's still like it's way more kind of like Ace Attorney, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Like later on, around episode 4 and 5, like that's when it really is like the end of episode 4. That's when it really turns into like shonen battle shit.
Yeah,
and I love that. That gives you so much creative freedom with how you can portray these. But even now, like I even in episode 2, I like this concept a lot with this kind of like supernatural debate, I guess.
Yeah, it's executed really well.
Mm-hmm. We also need to talk about the fact that fucking Rosa over here is incredibly sus.
Oh yeah, like I don't think we talked about it in the episode, but when after first Twilight, she says that she like comes back with Genji and Shannon, who reported it to Kinzo, who now we know like is dead. So the scene of them reporting kind of is irrelevant.
But the fact that she like collaborates that, like,
she comes in and says, "Yes, I have talked to father. He will not come down."
Sassy.
Like, I don't think that's a mistranslation. I think this is like a hint that no, she fucking didn't. she might have been like paid off by Yasu.
I mean, it would have made perfect sense considering everything else that happens in that episode. Yeah. Like, she always feels like the driving force behind the quote-unquote investigation behind what's happening.
Yeah.
And considering that if she was paid off, that explains why she, considering that she survives until the end, how she can just, like, manipulate everything so it will still work, I guess. Like, I definitely think that, like, if not... Like, I don't think she killed anyone.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But she definitely made it easier for Sayo to do so.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like she's the one splitting up everyone all the time.
Exactly. Like from the organization standpoint, she's definitely the most sussy one.
Yeah.
God, using the word sussy in these discussions was really fun.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
She is among us. The wolf among us. Wolf and sheep puzzle among us.
There was this one little scene, I specifically put this in our notes as just an excerpt from the wiki, where there's an unnamed narrator talking about being furniture and like how furniture cannot love.
Wait, where was that?
It was like at the beginning of the episode. It was like maybe chapter 3 or 4. Like it's just in the beginning, and there's like some flavor text. And I really like how, it's basically just like, it's Sayo speaking.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That is really cool.
I don't really have a lot to say about it, really. I just thought it was really neat, and I completely missed it on my first playthrough. And I only managed to find it now, like when I was putting together notes for this podcast. And I was like, oh, that's really sick. I should probably mention that.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry to all of our listeners. We did like brush up on episode 2, but on the important stuff. So like Shannon and canon scenes.
Yeah,
not on the middle part.
Episode 2, I do like it a lot, but it feels like one of those episodes that I barely remember.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree. I think I remember it a lot, but like that part specifically, yes, it's pretty forgettable.
Like, yeah. It's like this. I remember the beginning really well. I remember the middle really well, but then right after Evil Canon gets defeated, that's when it all gets kind of blurry for me. And right up until the ending. And the ending is really clear. I love the ending so much.
Yeah. It is. It is really. It's a great episode. I mean, as we said, like each consecutive episode gets better and better. Maybe up until like 7, because 7 is the best one.
True. I mean, I like 8 a lot
8
as well.
is really good, but I just like 7 so much.
7 is really good, yeah. No, 7 is brain rotting as fuck.
Yeah. But it's episode 2. Yukishi was still getting into his stuff.
I think at this point he already got into the groove.
I mean, I don't know, looking at Land of the Golden Witch.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't know, Land of the Golden Witch was a first draft for Umineko episode 3 that Yukishi scrapped and like wrote from the beginning because people said that like when Battler lost, so like he lost so severely in episode 2 that it's unfair, that it's too hard. So Rikishi like scrapped what he had in mind for Land of the Golden Witch and gave us instead Banquet of the Golden Witch. So, I think he was still like, I have not heard about any such thing happening later. I think like of episode 4 onwards, he had like a very clear vision.
Yeah.
But right now he's still kind of like,
he's still figuring it out.
Find like, testing the ground, what he can do and can do.
But I do find it incredibly interesting how he already had like the entire mystery figured out.
Oh, I mean, he had that figured out before episode 1. So
yeah, it's really cool. I just really like that even though he was trying to find his direction, every single hint is pretty much always pointing at the truth.
Yes. Yeah.
That's really sick.
Truth of Rosatrice.
True Rosatrice? No, this podcast does not condone Rosatrice discussion.
I think we have to do a specific episode dedicated to Rosatrice.
No, you'll have me on the TV, like that big TV from 1984 going, no Rosatrice discussion. They hated him because
they hated Jesus because he told them the truth. But Jesus told them to read Umineko.
Jesus told him to read Umineko, and God said that Rosatrice is real.
And everyone clapped. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for staying with us. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope you join us for future episodes. And next time where we cover episode 3, Banquet of the Golden Witch.
See you then.
Stay pegged, everyone.
Stay pegged, everyone.